Stories teach us life lessons in a simple way. They inspire and guide us to become better. The topic "Don't show off." The art of quiet success is important because showing off can make others uncomfortable, while quiet success earns respect. Listening to English stories also helps you learn new words and improve your understanding. So, let's enjoy a story that will make you think and grow. The night was quiet, and the small town of Maplewood was sleeping peacefully. Inside a modest little house, 12-year-old Lucy sat on the floor of her bedroom, staring at an old wooden box she had found in the attic. The box had the initials JW carved on it and a lock that seemed almost ancient. Lucy's curiosity burned as she wondered what secrets it might hold. Could it be treasure? Letters? Something magical? Her heart raced as she held the box. And just then, her mother called her downstairs for dinner. Coming, Lucy shouted, hiding the box under her bed. She couldn't wait to return to her room and open it later. At dinner, her older brother Michael was bragging about the new bike he had bought with his summer job money. "It's the best bike in town," he said proudly, listing all the features to their parents. Lucy watched her parents smile politely, but she could tell they weren't very impressed. Her dad simply said, "That's great, Michael. Just remember, actions speak louder than words." Lucy didn't understand what her dad meant at first. She thought about the box upstairs, wondering if it might teach her something about actions and words. Later that night, when everyone was asleep, Lucy tiptoed to her room and took the box out again. She used a hairpin to pick the old lock. It clicked open with a soft sound. Inside, she found a journal. Its pages were yellowed with time, but the handwriting was neat and careful. The first line read, "The story of John Walker, the man who succeeded in silence." Lucy began reading eagerly, and soon she was pulled into John Walker's world. John Walker was a quiet man who lived in Maplewood many years ago. He wasn't wealthy or famous, but he had one thing everyone admired: wisdom. He was a carpenter by trade, building beautiful furniture. But what set him apart was how he carried himself. John never boasted about his skills. Even when he created something amazing, like a chair so comfortable it felt magical, he let his work speak for itself. One day, a wealthy man named Mr. Grayson visited John's workshop. Mr. Grayson was known for his arrogance and loved to show off his riches. He came to order a table for his grand dining room. "Make me the finest table this town has ever seen," he demanded. "And when it's done, I'll tell everyone it's from my design." John smiled quietly and agreed. He spent weeks crafting the table, putting all his heart and skill into it. The table turned out to be a masterpiece. But instead of seeking praise, John simply delivered it and thanked Mr. Grayson for the opportunity. When Mr. Grayson held a grand party to show off the table, people were amazed. They asked who had made it, but Mr. Grayson took all the credit. However, as time passed, the truth came out. People discovered John's quiet craftsmanship, and they respected him even more. Lucy stopped reading for a moment and thought about her brother Michael. He was always talking about his achievements, but people didn't seem to admire him the way she thought they would. She wondered if her dad's words about actions speaking louder than words were connected to John Walker's story. The journal continued with more stories about John Walker, each one teaching a lesson. There was the time he helped rebuild the school after a fire without asking for recognition, or when he repaired the town's clock tower, quietly leaving it to surprise everyone. Each time, John gained respect not by boasting, but by letting his actions shine. The next day, Lucy decided to try something new. At school, instead of telling everyone about the cool things she had done during the weekend, she focused on listening to her friends. She noticed how happy they were when she gave them her full attention. At home, when her mom asked her to clean her room, she did it without complaining. Her mom smiled and said, "Thank you, Lucy. That means a lot." Lucy felt good. She realized that being humble and focusing on her actions, like John Walker, made her happier. As Lucy finished reading the journal that night, she found one last piece of advice written by John Walker. Success is not about what you say, but what you do. Let your work speak for itself, and you will earn true respect. Lucy smiled and closed the journal. She decided she would follow John Walker's example and practice the art of quiet success. This story teaches us that showing off may get attention for a moment, but quiet success lasts forever. When we focus on our work, people notice our actions. To live this way, you can. Let your work shine instead of talking about how great you are. Show it through your actions. Stay humble. Remember, there's always more to learn. Help others quietly. Good deeds don't need an audience. The most beautiful thought to take away is this: true success doesn't need a spotlight. It glows naturally, touching the hearts of others. Lucy's discovery of John Walker's journal sparked a fire within her. She couldn't stop thinking about how someone so humble could leave such a lasting legacy. That night, as the moonlight filtered through her window, she decided to look for more lessons in her everyday life. The next morning, a new story began to unfold, this time closer to home. At school, her teacher, Mrs. Bennett, announced an art competition. The winner's artwork will be displayed at the town library, she said. Lucy loved drawing, but her best friend Mia was even better. Mia, however, didn't believe in her talent. You should enter, Lucy encouraged Mia after class. Mia shook her head. What's the point? I'm not good enough. Lucy remembered John Walker's quiet confidence. Instead of arguing, she decided to help Mia without making a big deal about it. Over the next week, Lucy stayed after school with Mia, giving her encouragement and helping her perfect her drawing. On the day of the competition, Mia's painting of a serene forest won first place. Everyone clapped for her, but Mia's eyes were full of gratitude as she hugged Lucy. I couldn't have done this without you, she whispered. Lucy smiled. She hadn't entered the competition herself, but helping Mia succeed felt even better. She realized another lesson sometimes. True success is lifting others up without expecting anything in return. Meanwhile, in the quiet town of Maplewood, another story was quietly brewing. James Carter, a middle-aged man who worked at the local grocery store, was known for his reserved nature. He wasn't the type to talk about his life or boast about his achievements. Few people knew that James had been secretly paying off debts for families struggling in the community. Every week, he'd set aside part of his modest paycheck to help someone anonymously. One day, the mayor announced a special award for acts of kindness in the town. People began speculating about who would win. Some thought it might be Mrs. Palmer, the bakery owner who gave free bread to children. Others guessed it might be Mr. Harris, who fixed bicycles for free. When James's name was called at the award ceremony, the crowd gasped in surprise. James stepped onto the stage, his face red with embarrassment. I don't deserve this, he said softly into the microphone. But the mayor smiled. You may not think so, James, but your actions have touched so many lives. Thank you for showing us the true meaning of generosity. That night, James returned home with a heart full of gratitude. He hadn't sought recognition, but it found him because of his quiet kindness. Lucy read about James Carter in the town newspaper the next day. It felt like John Walker's story had come to life right in her own neighborhood. Inspired, she decided to practice even more acts of quiet success. One evening, Lucy saw her elderly neighbor, Mr. Thompson, struggling to carry groceries into his house. Without a word, she ran over to help. Thank you, young lady, Mr. Thompson said with a smile. What's your name? Lucy shrugged playfully. Just someone who likes to help. That small act of kindness made her day. She realized that quiet success wasn't about being famous, it was about making someone else's day better. Lucy also noticed her brother Michael starting to change. After hearing their dad's words about actions, Michael stopped bragging so much about his bike. Instead, he began offering rides to friends who didn't have one. Soon, his classmates started calling him the nicest guy in school. One day, Michael came home smiling. "You know, Lucy, it feels better to do something good without talking about it. People notice anyway." Lucy grinned. "I told you so." Another memorable story came from Lucy's classmate Ethan. Ethan was quiet and often sat alone at lunch. Many assumed he didn't have much to say, but Lucy saw him sketching intricate designs in his notebook one day. "Wow, Ethan. These are amazing," Lucy said. Ethan blushed. "Thanks, but they're just doodles." "They're more than that," Lucy said. "You should enter the school's design contest." Ethan hesitated, but Lucy's encouragement gave him the courage to try. Weeks later, Ethan's design won the contest, and he was invited to present it at a local art fair. Ethan's quiet success inspired the whole school, proving that even the shyest person can shine when their work speaks for itself. As Lucy grew older, she continued living by the lessons she had learned. She didn't need to brag about her grades or accomplishments. Instead, she let her actions and kindness define her. And slowly, she noticed how people respected her not because she talked about her achievements, but because they could see her values in everything she did. Here are more tips to practice the art of quiet success. Listen more. Speak less, pay attention to what others say. Listening makes people feel valued. Do good without expectation. Acts of kindness are more meaningful when done selflessly. Stay focused on growth instead of seeking attention. Focus on improving yourself. Success will follow. Celebrate others' wins, cheer for others' achievements without jealousy or comparison. Be patient, quiet success takes time, but it's always worth the wait. Hello. Have you ever wondered how some people speak English so fluently even if they've never left their home? Do you think they have a secret teacher? Or maybe they're just born with it? Well, let me share something with you. There is a secret. And if you stay with me until the end, you'll not only discover it, but also learn how to use it to change your life forever. Hi, everyone. My name is Lily, and I'm here to share something truly special with you. Today's topic is Master English Speaking at Home Proven Tips. While you're listening, we'll also learn some new words, how to make sentences, and even practice together in a fun and easy way. Stay with me, because by the end, you'll feel more confident and excited about speaking English than ever before. Imagine this: you're talking to someone in English, and the words just flow like water. No stopping, no thinking, no worrying about mistakes. Sounds like a dream, right? But trust me, it can be your reality. I know because I've been there too. There was a time when I felt nervous even saying hello in English. I thought people would laugh at me, or worse, ignore me. But then, something happened, a moment that changed everything. One evening, I was sitting in my room feeling frustrated. I had tried everything: grammar books, boring lessons, even talking to myself in the mirror. Nothing worked. Then, I saw a little bird outside my window. It was practicing its song over and over, even though no one was listening. And that's when it hit me: if this tiny bird could keep trying without fear, why couldn't I? So, I made a promise to myself I would practice English every day, no matter what. And not just practice, I would make it fun. That's the key, you see. Learning English doesn't have to be hard or boring. It can be like playing a game or listening to your favorite story. Now, let's talk about why this is important. Why should you master English speaking? Think about your dreams. Do you want a better job, to travel the world, or maybe just to make new friends? English is the door to all of that. Imagine walking into an interview and speaking confidently, or traveling to a new country and making friends easily. English gives you freedom, the freedom to connect, to express, and to succeed. But it's not just about success. It's about your heart too. When you speak English, you're not just learning a language. You're learning to share your feelings, your thoughts, your stories with the world. And that's a beautiful thing, isn't it? So, let me ask you, are you ready to take that first step? Because I'm going to share some amazing tips with you. But first, let me tell you a little secret about one of my students, Alex. Alex was so shy he couldn't even say his name in English. But guess what? In just 1 month, he started speaking in full sentences. How? He followed a simple routine, one that I'm going to share with you right now. So, Alex's secret wasn't some expensive course or a magical solution. It was something so simple that anyone could do it. He turned his everyday routine into an English speaking practice. Let me explain. Every morning, Alex would start his day by talking to himself in English. Sound strange? Not at all. He would say things like, "Good morning, Alex. Today, I will eat breakfast. I will study for 1 hour. Then, I will go for a walk." These simple sentences became his way of warming up, like stretching before exercise. Then, while brushing his teeth or making tea, he would listen to English stories or podcasts. He didn't worry about understanding every word. Instead, he focused on how the words sounded, how people spoke with emotion, and how sentences were formed. Sometimes he would repeat what he heard, copying the tone and rhythm like he was an actor rehearsing a script. And here's where the magic happened. In the evenings, Alex created a talking hour for himself. He would pick a topic, like his day at work or his favorite movie, and talk about it for 5 minutes. He didn't care if he made mistakes. He just kept talking, pretending he was explaining something to a friend. At first, Alex felt silly. He even laughed at himself. But little by little, he noticed something amazing. His words started to come faster. His confidence grew. And soon, he wasn't just speaking to himself, he started talking to his coworkers in English. This is the beauty of practice. The more you try, the less scary it becomes. It's like learning to ride a bicycle. At first you wobble and fall, but with each try you get better until one day you're speeding down the road, feeling the wind in your hair. Now, I know what you're thinking, but Lily, I don't have time to do all of this. Let me tell you a little secret. You don't need hours. You just need to make small moments in your day count. For example, when you're cooking, name the ingredients in English. Tomato, onion, salt. When you're walking, describe what you see. I see a big tree. The sky is blue. The air feels cool. These little actions may seem small, but they add up. They train your brain to think in English. And that's the key, thinking in English. Once your mind starts working this way, speaking becomes natural, almost automatic. I remember another student of mine, Maya. She had a dream of traveling to the United States, but was too nervous to speak English. So, we created a challenge for her every day. She had to talk to one new person in English, even if it was just saying hello or asking for directions. At first, she was terrified. But with each conversation, her fear melted away. And when she finally visited the US, she was able to make friends and share her story. This is what I want for you too. I want you to feel free to speak without fear and to share your voice with the world. Because your voice matters. Your stories matter. And learning English is the bridge that helps you share them. Now let's try something fun together. Imagine you're introducing yourself to someone new. What would you say? Start with something simple. Hi, my name is your name. I am from your country. I like your hobby. Go ahead and practice this right now. Say it out loud. Don't worry about mistakes, they're just steps to success. So you might be wondering, What else can I do at home to improve my English? Let me share a few more things that Alex and Maya did, and trust me, these are powerful. One of the best ways to improve is to create an English-speaking environment right at home. Alex did something brilliant. He labeled everyday items in his house with sticky notes. For example, his chair had a note that said chair, the door said door, and even the fridge had a label saying refrigerator. Every time he looked at these, he would say the words out loud. Simple? Yes. Effective? Absolutely. But he didn't stop there. He turned his phone's language to English. At first it felt strange, but soon he started understanding words like settings, notifications, and updates. Small changes like these made a big difference because they surrounded him with English all the time. Now, let me tell you something personal. When I was learning English, I used to write letters to myself. Yes, letters. I would write about my day, my feelings, or my dreams. Then I would read them out loud as if I were sharing them with a friend. This helped me not only with speaking but also with expressing myself in English. Try it. You might discover things about yourself while practicing. And here's another secret: music. Maya loved listening to English songs. She didn't just listen, she sang along. She started with slow songs where the words were clear and easy to follow, like Imagine by John Lennon. Singing helped her with pronunciation, rhythm, and even confidence. So pick your favorite song and sing your heart out. Let me ask you a question. Have you ever felt like giving up because English feels too hard? I know that feeling. It's like climbing a mountain that never seems to end. But let me remind you of something important. Every step you take, no matter how small, is progress. Think about this: when a baby learns to walk, do they give up after falling once? Of course not. They try again and again, even if they fall 100 times. And one day, they take their first step. Learning English is just like that. You might stumble, but each mistake is helping you get closer to fluency. Now, let's talk about the power of stories. Stories are not just for entertainment, they're an amazing tool for learning English. Why? Because they're full of conversations, emotions, and real-life situations. When you read or listen to a story, you're not just learning words, you're learning how to use them in real life. One of my favorite stories to recommend is The Little Prince. It's simple, beautiful, and full of wonderful lessons. When you read it, try saying the dialogues out loud. Pretend you're the characters. This will make your practice more fun and help you understand how sentences are used in different situations. And here's an activity you can start today. Stand in front of a mirror and talk about your day. Pretend you're a news reporter sharing exciting updates with your audience. For example, good evening. Today I went to the park. I saw a dog running and children playing. The weather was sunny and warm. This simple practice builds confidence and fluency. Let me tell you about another student, Sam. Sam wanted to improve his English because he dreamed of becoming a chef in an international hotel. He started watching cooking shows in English. At first, he didn't understand everything, but he would focus on the actions and try to match them with the words. For example, when the chef said, "Chop the onions," he would mimic the action. Within a few months, not only could he follow recipes in English, but he also started speaking like the chefs on TV. The lesson here is clear: combine your hobbies with English practice. If you love movies, watch them in English with subtitles. If you enjoy drawing, describe your artwork in English. When you mix learning with fun, it doesn't feel like work. Before we end this part of the story, let me ask you a question. If you could only choose one activity to practice English every day, what would it be? Let me know in the comments below.